So there's a lot of important information in Tarkov, and from what I can tell about the player base, there's usually 3 types of players. Players who know what they're doing, players who think they know what they're doing, and players who don't have a clue what they're looking at, especially when it revolves around building your guns. There's certain stats that you need to look at and understand, like MOA, accuracy, ergo, recoil, and some of you guys watching this video might not know what any of it means, whereas a lot of you guys probably do know what it means. And then there's probably a few of you who are going to get in the comments and tell me that I don't know what it means. But I'm going to do my best to explain all these stats in a dumbed down, simplified way. So let's get into it, baby. When you're building a gun in Tarkov, if you pull out your little information panel here, you can see there's a lot of different stats. You've got durability, weight, ergonomics, accuracy, sighting range, vertical recoil, horizontal recoil, muzzle velocity, and then just a few stats down here that don't really matter for this video. And the first one we're going to cover is durability. The durability of your gun is pretty much just how much you've used the gun, and it's scaled 0 to 100. You can see that this DVL has 96.9 out of 100. That means that this is 96.9% good. As you use your gun and the more that you shoot your gun, the more this durability is going to go down. You can repair the gun, but usually once they get down to around 90% durability, you're going to want to replace that gun. If you let the durability level get too low, the gun can start having misfires, or if it's an automatic weapon, it can start to jam a little bit more. And also, as your durability goes down, your accuracy suffers as well. So in the sense of an automatic weapon, you want this number to stay high so that you don't jam the gun in the middle of a fight. But in the sense of a sniper rifle or a marksman rifle, you want this number to stay high because you need the accuracy. And the next stat in the panel is going to be weight. You can see that this DVL has a weight of 5.8 kilos, almost 5.9. Now there's going to be 2 primary things that the weight of your gun does in Tarkov. The gun weight is going to affect your stamina drain speed whenever you're aim down sights, and it's also going to affect your aim down sight speed. So if you're using something for close quarters fights and it's got a very high weight, your aim down sight speed is going to be pretty slow if you keep the weight too high, so it's usually best to keep it on the low side so that your ADS speed's a little quicker. But if I'm being honest, I rarely look at weight. I think the other stats are a little more important to pay attention to, and the weight's just gonna be what it is. Now, the weight almost directly correlates into the ergonomics. This ergonomics level, you can see this DVL is 40. Your ergonomics, in a sense, is how agile your gun is. This ergonomics value is going to affect your aiming down sight speed, your stamina drain while aim down sights, and a third thing that people don't realize this affects, it affects the volume of when you aim down sights. But that's just kind of a stupid one. So again, if you want the high aiming down sight speed and you want the higher stamina while you're aiming down sights, you're going to want to keep this ergo up pretty high. If you're a fast close quarters combat player, you're going to want to have very high ergo so that you can ADS before the enemy does. Whereas on a sniper rifle, it doesn't really matter so much because most of the time you're just laying on a rock ADS'd anyways. Now the fourth value here when you're building a gun is going to be accuracy, and this is measured in MOA. This is probably the #1 figure that players don't really understand all that well. If you've ever shot at somebody long range and you missed the shot although you were aimed directly at their head, this is the reason why. MOA stands for minute of angle, and it's pretty much an angled measurement that determines what your bullet spread is going to be. In the most simplified way of explaining as possible, 1 MOA pretty much means that you'll have 1 inch of bullet spread per 100 yards. So you'll have a 1-inch bullet spread at 100 yards, you'll have a 2-inch bullet spread at 200 yards, 3 inches at 300, and so on. Whereas, say, a 3 MOA weapon will have a 3-inch spread at 100 yards, a 6-inch spread at 200 yards, and a 9-inch spread at 300 yards, and then it just keeps going. Now, where this becomes important is if you're sniping or doing some long-range fighting and you know you're going to be shooting 200 or 300 meters, you really want to keep this MOA level low so that your bullet spread is not huge. But realistically, in Tarkov, as long as you're under about a 3 MOA and you're fighting less than 200 meters, usually you're not going to notice too much of a difference. But it's still a good idea to keep the MOA high just so that you know that your gun is accurate. The MOA also affects automatic rifles, and not just in the sense of single fire. This value affects how large your grouping will be whenever you go full automatic. The next stat on the list is sighting range. You can see this DVL is 1500. If I'm being honest right now, there's no point in looking at the sighting range. This is going to change depending on what scope you put on the gun. It's going to change depending on how you build the gun, and not too many people are actually shooting 1500 meters in Tarkov, and I doubt most of you are shooting over 400 or 500 meters. So in my opinion, this value here is pretty irrelevant. Now, the next two stats you've got is vertical recoil and horizontal recoil. We all know what recoil is. Vertical recoil is how much your gun jumps up and down when you shoot. Horizontal recoil is going to be how much it floats left to right while you shoot. Obviously, if you're trying to build out some type of laser beam M4, you want to get the recoil as low as possible. If you're using something like the sniper, you're going to have to work the bolt anyways, so it's an irrelevant stat. I usually only look at the recoils for semi-automatic and fully automatic weapons. I don't pay any attention to them for snipers, and for automatic weapons, it's best to just get it as low as possible without breaking your rubles. And the very last stat you need to look at when you're building a gun is muzzle velocity. This is measured in meters per second. You can see here that this DVL is 951 meters per second. And I do need to make a note here that the different ammos that you shoot in your gun will also make some variations to the muzzle velocity. So when you're choosing your ammo, pay attention to the velocities of the ammo you're choosing, or I've got a video, I'm going to link it above me right here, that can explain to you guys what the different ammo values mean if you need help looking at the chart. But either way, the muzzle velocity has two primary functions. It's going to affect the speed of your bullet and the bullet drop. And also with a higher muzzle velocity, your bullet's going to reach its target quicker, so it's going to have less time to drop, meaning you don't have to aim as high to hit somebody. If you're shooting a slower velocity bullet, you're going to have to lead the target a little bit more, or you're going to have to aim a little higher because you will have a little more bullet drop. Obviously, the best way you can use this value is to just keep your muzzle velocity as high as possible, no matter what gun you're using, but some of the guns do have slower velocities, but at least now you can have an idea of what that number means. Again, the ammo chart should also have velocity numbers on it, and you guys can kind of correlate this depending on which guns you're using. And then for our last four stats, I mean, there's not really much explanation here. This is just types of fire. This is going to be your fire mode. This is going to tell you if the gun can go single fire, burst mode, semi-automatic, or fully automatic. Your caliber is going to tell you which type of bullet you can shoot. Your fire rate is exactly what it sounds like. It's measured in rounds per minute, so this DVL can shoot 30 bullets per minute, or 1 bullet every 2 seconds. And then your effective distance with this gun is 1,000 meters. But if I'm being honest, I rarely look at effective distance because I don't make 1,000 meter shots, and even if this was something like an M4 with a 500 meter distance, I'm not shooting an M4 500 meters. So I personally don't even look at this value. If you guys have been confused about what the different values in Tarkov mean or how to understand them, I hope this video at least helped you understand what you're looking at and how to build guns better. If you enjoyed this video, I just ask that you guys leave a like on the video, and if you enjoy my content or you enjoy videos like this, maybe leave a sub on the channel. And as always, if you think I covered something incorrectly or you maybe want to add something to what I said, feel free to post it down in the comments. But for now, I'm going to check out, homies. Peace out, baby.